A warm welcome to all our global citizens tuning in today. We're about to delve into a captivating yet complex world of international relations and economics. Today, we're exploring the intriguing concept of debt trap diplomacy. This theory, proposed by Indian academic Brahma Chelani, suggests that countries or institutions may extend excessive debt to a borrowing nation, not simply as a financial transaction, but as a means to gain political leverage. It's a contentious idea that has sparked intense debate among experts, stirring controversy in the world of global economics and politics. Some argue it's a strategic method employed by powerful nations, while others dismiss it as an oversimplification of intricate economic dynamics. As we venture deeper into this fascinating topic, we invite you to join us on this journey. If you find our content engaging and enlightening, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel and share our stay tuned as we unravel this fascinating topic. And remember, your support helps us to continue providing quality content. So, what exactly is debt trap diplomacy? Let's break it down. Imagine you're a lending institution like a bank. You have a client who needs a loan for a big exciting project. You give them the loan, but it's so large that they struggle to pay it back. Gradually, you start having a say in their financial decisions. Now let's extend this scenario. Think of it on an international level. You're a wealthy country with surplus resources. A less prosperous country approaches you, requesting funds for their development projects. You graciously provide them with a loan, but the amount is so substantial that the borrowing nation finds it challenging to repay. The debt starts to pile up, and soon you're in a position of control over them. You can drive their economic and political decisions to suit your interests. But let's not get carried away. It's not entirely dark. Sometimes the borrowing nation consciously enters into these arrangements, seeing the possibility for growth and development. The lending nation may also have genuinely good intentions, offering loans with less stringent conditions than other lenders. However, it's when the borrowing nation can't meet the repayments that the situation becomes problematic. The creditor can use this as a tool, advocating for political or economic concessions. They might, for instance, ask for preferential trade agreements or even support in international forums. What's crucial to remember is that debt trap diplomacy isn't a straightforward matter. It's a multifaceted mix of financial transactions, political tactics, and economic strategies unfolding on the world stage. And while it might seem like a contemporary phenomenon, the roots of this practice were planted in the past, during periods of financial crises and geopolitical shifts. Now that we have a good understanding of debt trap diplomacy, you're probably asking, who's implementing it? Enter China, the world's largest bilateral lender. In the grand scheme of global economics, China has made quite a name for itself, particularly with its Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. This ambitious plan aims to connect Asia, Africa, and Europe through a network of railways, highways, oil pipelines, and other infrastructure projects. But it's not just about building bridges and roads, it's about extending loans to countries that might struggle to pay them back. This is where things get interesting. China's lending practices have been a subject of much debate, and not without reason. Critics argue that China is setting a debt trap, lending copious amounts of money to countries that will later find themselves in a financial bind, giving China significant political leverage. This notion sparked the term debt trap diplomacy. However, some observers note that Chinese banks have shown willingness to restructure loans and have never seized assets from any nation. They argue that China's lending is not predatory, but a means of fostering economic growth in developing countries. What's more, some countries like Trinidad and Tobago actually prefer Chinese loans over those from international institutions like the International Monetary Fund. Chinese loans come with fewer strings attached, fewer conditions. This flexibility can be quite appealing, especially for nations that are trying to navigate their way through economic development. While some see China's lending as a strategic move, others view it as haphazard. So, what's the real story? The controversy around China's debt trap diplomacy isn't just a matter of opinion, it's a full-fledged debate. Across the globe, experts are locked in a riveting discourse, dissecting China's lending practices and their implications. They're asking the hard questions. Is China using debt to extract economic and political concessions from borrowing nations? Or is it simply offering a helping hand to emerging economies in their quest for infrastructural development? Critics argue that China's lending practices are a strategic move, a ploy to gain leverage over borrowing nations. They point to the term coined by Indian academic Brahma Chelani in 2017, debt trap diplomacy. According to this perspective, China extends excessive credit to countries, only to later use this debt as a bargaining chip. However, it's not all criticism and suspicion, there's a robust defense too. Several experts argue that China's lending practices are far from predatory. Chinese banks, they say, have shown a willingness to restructure loans and have never seized assets from any nation. They assert that the debt troubles faced by borrowing nations can't be pinned solely on China. After all, the financial crisis of 2007 to 2008 led to low interest rates in the US and Europe, pushing investors toward emerging markets for higher returns. Moreover, some countries like Trinidad and Tobago have willingly chosen Chinese loans over those from institutions like the IMF, citing less stringent conditions as the deciding factor. This demonstrates that the narrative isn't as straightforward as it might seem. By 2023, the consensus among experts was that Chinese lending was too haphazard to be part of a coordinated geostrategic plan. While China has been criticized for high interest rates and challenging state sovereignty, there's no concrete evidence of predatory lending practices. Despite the US government's accusations of China engaging in debt trap diplomacy, there's no agreement on this issue. The discourse continues, with new perspectives and insights emerging regularly. The discussion it has sparked is certainly noteworthy. There you have it, folks. A brief yet comprehensive look at the intriguing world of debt trap diplomacy. We've delved into the complex nuances of this geopolitical strategy, taking a closer look at the practices of the world's largest bilateral lender, China. We've unpacked the controversies and debates surrounding the concept and highlighted the diverse opinions that exist. Some see it as a calculated strategy to gain political leverage, while others argue it's just a result of haphazard lending. Remember, this is a multifaceted issue with layers of intricacies, and it's crucial to the conversation going. Encourage further research, engage in discussions, and form your own informed opinions. After all, understanding is the first step towards making a difference. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.